Thanks for tuning in to Talking Point. I'm your host, Neeraj Shah. I think it's a trend that we will see across hospitality companies that the Omicron wave impacted the Q4 earnings, and therefore either companies with a full-blown hospitality business or a segment in hospitality will probably show some chinks in the armor if you just look at the isolated numbers in Q4. The questions are though that is it possible to make a quick revival from that starting Q1 now that India has opened up? And what do the other businesses or some of the companies, like for example, Delta Corp, hold in store in the near term? They came out with the numbers and, as I said, showed a sequential decline. On a YOY basis, the numbers looked a bit better as well. Hardik Dhebar, as always, joins in right now to talk about some of the experiences of Q4. How is Q1 shaping up thus far? And what are the expectations from FY23? Hardik, great having you. Hope all is safe.
All good, Neeraj. I hope the same with you. All good with you as well.
Touchwood, going along fine. Hardik, I'll put the quarter into perspective. Obviously, sequentially, the numbers have looked off more so on the margins and the bottom line compared to the top line. But put this into perspective because I think you were cautioning to this when you spoke to us last because of the Omicron wave.
So yeah, Neeraj, that's very correct. As you rightly, in your review to the whole thing said about the Omicron and the hospitality segment per se, I think that holds true for Delta to a large extent as well. Around the 10th January onwards, right up to 15th of February, Goa was in a very peculiar situation. First, between 10th January and the whole of January per se, we had the so-called Omicron wave where people were reluctant to move out and go into crowded places. And we did see a sharp fall in visitations as far as our properties in Goa, casinos in Goa are concerned. Goa had a further unique situation coupled of the elections that got coupled with this wave, and there was the election code of conduct that was in play right from about 8th, 9th or 10th of January, almost around the same time, stretching all the way to about 14th of February. While we already had restrictions on account of COVID, there were further restrictions that came in because of the election code of conduct that we had to abide by. So both these things put together obviously did impact the visitations and footfalls, if one may look at it that way. If I was to therefore regularize and assume that I had the revenue, none of these events would have happened. Based on the run rate that we witnessed post 14th, 15th of February and going into March, we would have not only probably met the numbers that we did in October, November, December, but probably would have surpassed them going by the trend that is in March. Having said that, the trend continues in April for the first 10, 11 days that we have seen. So far, everything looks to be on track to be able to achieve the similar kind of trajectory that we saw in the third quarter. And if I may say, that continued post 14th, 15th of February, we did see decent pickup in visitations, decent pickup in footfalls, and the overall revenue perspective as well. So yes, Neeraj, I think the revival is already visible. We are seeing the numbers coming back, and we are very hopeful that we will be able to continue the run rate that we saw in the third quarter in the coming financial year as well.
So okay, let me first talk about the gaming business and then about the operational metrics. So the online gaming business, I thought actually did reasonably okay, right? Revenues were up both on a QOQ, YOY basis. I think the segment level EBIT, as I read out from my notes, also declined on a quarter-on-quarter basis.
So let me talk about on the revenue front, as far as Q on Q for the online business, you're right. We did reasonably comparatively better, if I may say so. I don't want to say reasonably better, but comparatively better than what we did, because we believe that there is scope to grow from here, and that is the reason why we are trying to focus on it, give it a dedicated war chest by taking the company public. As you know, it was last time when I met you, we had said that the Delta Corp, the parent company, had resolved to do a public offering for the online gaming space, which will be a mix of offer for sale and a primary issuance. So we are on track for that. We are working with the bankers, the lawyers, everybody to try and see if we could achieve filing the DRHP sometime soon, such that there is a dedicated war chest for the online play to be able to then use that war chest to grow from here on. So we believe that online play is on track as of now and will further robust itself going forward once it has its own dedicated war chest. With regards to the EBITDA margins, Neeraj, that you asked me.
No, I haven't as yet. I'll come to that in a moment, Hardik. Let me just first ask you a follow-up question. I mean, I thought the segment level EBIT for the gaming business was also decent despite lower revenue base in Q4 as well. So I think 4 crores if I'm not wrong. So which is fine. But I heard you mention that. I mean, and you spoke about this in the last time as well. My question is the equity market sentiment globally seems to be changing at the margin a little bit, Hardik. Would you proceed with the proposed offering irrespective of market conditions? I mean, I'm just trying to understand if there is a need felt to make this happen irrespective of what's happening around the market, or would you want to do this at a particular valuation and therefore you will wait for the right valuation to come? I mean, if it comes right now, then great. But if it doesn't, would you defer the proposed IPO?
So I think, Neeraj, there are two ways to look at it. One, obviously, we want this to happen because the business needs it, the company needs it, and the growth requires this sort of a war chest. Having said that, you are absolutely right. We are not here to, sell it at a discount or do a distress sale kind of a thing in terms of the IPO. But one has to look at it in perspective that our expectations or our valuation expectation is also not something like some of the other companies on the new age technology space or the gaming space have demonstrated or are expecting. So we are quite pragmatic, quite rational about what we want, and I think if we are able to achieve the numbers that we are looking at, which I don't think is out of the whack at this point of time, we should still be able to achieve the closure despite the market conditions, as you rightly said. But having said that, we will not go in blindly, and that is why I am not telling you that we'll be doing this on this date and that on this date. But we will play it by the year, obviously, because, like I said, there is no desperation. There is an urgency, there is a need, there is a desire to do it, but there is no desperation, if you understand what I say.
So not necessarily that will happen in Q1. It could happen in Q2 as well.
Well, we are working and planning to file our DRHP in the Q1 to be able to get things rolling. But then, obviously, after filing the DRHP, there is still a further process to be done. And to assess the market, we will have the time post that. So we will obviously do an assessment and see what is the best time to hit the markets, as the case may be.
Got it. Now, you did mention in the last quarter, Hardik, that despite, that under a normal scenario, rather, the consolidated EBITDA margins would be in the range of 37 to 40%, and correct me if I'm wrong, and that of the gaming business could be about 43 to 45%. Now, if one presumes that April, May, June for now seems to be a normal quarter, you reckon those are the levels that you could hit?
In terms of the EBITDA margins, yes, we should be able to claw back to that 38%, 38% margins at the consolidated levels. And in the gaming, we already will have started seeing the traction of inching towards the 40 and crossing the 40% mark as far as the gaming business per se is concerned. So I don't think that is going to be a big challenge, given the fact that, like, obviously the caveat is, like you said, it has to be a normal quarter of operations.
Q1 seems to have started off with a bang for a lot of hospitality companies, at least. Are they in the urban metros, at least, where the weddings, etc., are taking place thick and fast? And I hear from people that capacities are just not available. I'm wondering if in a hardcore tourist place like Goa as well, which is the predominant part of your hospitality, if I'm not wrong, how is Q1 started off, both for gaming as well as for the hospitality business thus far? It's only, 12 days. I'm just trying to understand.
So, Neeraj, from a delta perspective, hospitality has never been a large play in terms of revenue. If you look at the larger scheme of things, it is more of gaming. But what happens is the rub-off effect definitely plays out. Once the hotels start doing well, the visitations, that means the visitations are happening. And once the visitations happen, we definitely get them converted into footfalls happening into our vessels. And like I said, both March and the first 12 days of April, the trajectory and the traction and the visitations seem to indicate that the big bang that you mentioned is here.
Okay. I missed that earlier. You were in the process of building the new boat, if I'm not wrong, aimed at replacing the existing vessels. What's the update there, Hardik?
So that project is underway. It's on track. It was expected to be ready in the first quarter of 23, financial year 23-24. That is, and we are on track for that. It's only a matter of time. If we are able to achieve it before the sandbar formation happens in the river, it will come into operations in the second quarter. If the sandbar formation happens, then we'll have to push it to the third quarter. But I think we are on track as far as the completion of the vessel is concerned.
Okay, so but it will be available for peak operation during the peak season, which is the October, November, December quarter, if I'm not wrong.
Should be definitely be available by then.
Got it. You not also announced, sorry,
the next October, 23-24.
Okay, I'm sorry. I thought you talked about FY23.
No.
FY24, fair call. A word on the amalgamation of, I think, Daman Entertainment and Daman Hospitality. What does this do and why did you do this?
So I think a lot of things today also, if you know, the hotel operations are managed largely by Delta. And therefore, it makes more sense to why have one company bleed and have an asset sit in a company, and the other side you have. So it's a better planning, better synergy, better costs. I think we are coming together, and I think it's more from a consolidation perspective and keeping the structure more leaner and straightforward. I think it's a win-win from Delta's perspective as well as the perspective.
Okay. I think before we sign off, you guys tend to do something very new and unique every second quarter or thereabouts. There was this big plan about the offshore gaming high-tech park that you were trying to build. Then the new vessel, the last time that we learned. What is new that has happened the last quarter? Before we wrap off, anything new that happened the last quarter?
I think let's wait. The only thing that I can say that has happened is the good thing that has happened is that the Daman case, which had been languishing for a very long time, finally we have had a hearing in the High Court, and a date for the final hearing has been fixed, which is 23rd of June, post the resumptions of the court after the vacation. And we are very positive and hopeful that things will only be good for Delta at large going forward from here.
Okay, so you're saying on the 23rd of June that there is a hearing, which whether it happens in the first hearing or no is secondary, but possibly that there could be a decision around Daman starting the gaming operations.
Well, that's the petition all about. 23rd of June is the final hearing commencement. Like you said, whether it happens on 23rd June itself or it goes into another day or two or maybe a month, we don't know at this point of time, but that's correct.
Well, wish you all the best for that, and wish you all the best for an opened up economy. Hardik, if your company does well, it's an indication that India is doing well on the COVID front. So we certainly hope both of those things happen. Thank you so much for speaking to us today.
Thank you, Neeraj. Thank you very much for having us.
The pleasure was ours. Viewers, thanks for tuning into this leg of The Talking Point.